It's almost 2026, and if you want to start a business, you need to know what is the best, easiest, and most beginner-friendly business model that is going to get you from broke to financially free as fast as possible. Now, getting rich online is not easy, but if you choose the right vehicle, it becomes a lot easier and you can get there a lot faster. Hell, if you choose the right one, you can make your first 10 to 20K a month in the next 90 days because yes, it is possible. So in this video, I'm going to rank the best and most beginner-friendly business models that you can start in 2026 to get to 10, 20, 50K a month, whatever your goal is, as fast as possible and as easily as possible. And at the end of the video, I'm going to reveal the absolute best business model that is going to blow up in 2026. But as of the time recording today, you're still early. So that presents an incredible opportunity for you. So make sure you stick to the end. All right, let's get started. Now, I want to start by saying that every single business model can potentially make you rich. But not every business model is beginner friendly. In fact, most of them are not. So to avoid wasting your time and to get to your financial goal as fast as possible, you need to choose the right one for you. And I'm going to rank all the most common business models from best to worst based on these 4 criteria. And these criteria are startup costs, so the cash required to get the first version running, time to first dollar, so how quickly a beginner can realistically get paid, skill complexity, how hard the core skill is to learn from scratch, competition level, how crowded the market is and how differentiated beginners must be, and fulfillment difficulty, so how hard the day-to-day delivery is once a client or customer buys. So I have a bunch of business models lined up here, and as I said, I'm going to reveal the absolute best one at the end, so stay until the end. So let me start with the most common one, the one that everyone knows, which is drop shipping. Dropshipping has been around forever, right? It's one of the most known business models, and at this point is probably one of the most saturated business models out there. And so let me rank this by these 4 criteria that we have. Now, startup cost. Starting a dropshipping business requires you to have a little bit money saved up because you're gonna need money to run paid ads. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to sell your product. You're not gonna be able to even buy the products, because how dropshipping works, you have to first buy the product from a seller, like a seller in China, for example, like AliExpress, and then you're gonna sell that product charging a little bit more and you get paid the difference. And usually profit margins are very low. So when it comes to startup costs, it's not good because you need money to run ads or at least to pay for influencer to sponsor your product. And time to first dollar, I would say this is pretty quick if you know what you're doing, because I remember when I started dropshipping a long time ago in 2017, I made my first dollar like in 2 weeks, but I had to spend like $200 for an influencer to sponsor that product that I was selling. And I lost money, but it took me just 2 weeks to make my first dollar. So I guess time to first dollar is not that bad. It's pretty quickly. You can start a drop shipping store and start making money pretty quickly. Now, skill complexity. Now, it's pretty hard to run a drop shipping store. You need to learn a lot of different skills when it comes to choosing the product, running ads, customer service, and dealing with a lot of stuff. So it's not very beginner friendly. And competition level, as I said, is super saturated. Everyone wants to start a drop shipping store, e-com brand, or whatever. And fulfillment difficulty, it's not bad because you don't, unless you have like your own brand and you have storage and you're shipping out the products yourself. If you're doing drop shipping, like traditional drop shipping, you usually never see the product. You just take the order and then the supplier is going to send the product to the customer. So the fulfillment is not hard. So yeah, based on these criteria, I'm going to put drop shipping into C tier. It's not the worst one, but I'm going to put it into C tier because it's pretty hard to start. You need money to start and it requires you to have a lot of skills. Now let's move to the next one and let's go with SaaS company. Now, a SaaS company, and if you don't know what SaaS is, it's software as a service. So a software company like Instantly, like companies like Salesforce, Adobe, Microsoft, other companies, HubSpot, there's a lot of different software companies. And nowadays, everyone is starting their own SaaS company. But I think that a SaaS company is the hardest thing that you can start because, first of all, let's start with startup costs. It requires a lot of money to start because you're gonna have to pay for good engineers. If you actually want to build a good product, you're gonna have to pay, for. So you're gonna have to spend a lot of money to develop an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, first version of the product, to test it on the market. You're gonna have to spend a lot of money to test and see if it's actually something that people want. It requires a lot of skills. You need to be able to sell it. You need to be able to talk to investors because you're going to need capital to pay employees, to pay for the marketing, to pay for everything else. So SaaS company is definitely not something that a beginner can start. If you have no money, no experience, you cannot start a SaaS company. I think this is the worst thing that you can do. So I'm going to put this in D tier, even though it should go to F tier because it's the worst thing that you can start as a beginner. Now, if you have a lot of skills in coding and you really understand that world, then I guess maybe it's for you. If very tech savvy and you really understand how this works and how to build apps and code websites or whatever. But if you don't have all that skills, it's not for you. Just leave it like that. So the next one that we have here is let's pick this one, consulting. Now, consulting, I think it's a great business to start. The problem with consulting is that you cannot become a consultant if you don't have experience in anything, right? You need to be experienced in something. You need to be, I don't know, for example, if you want to be a consultant for agency owners, you need to have had experience as an agency owner, right? You need to have had an agency, run a successful agency so that you can actually give good advice to other agency owners. So I see a lot of people nowadays just starting a consulting business, but they have no experience whatsoever in whatever they're consulting in. So I would say it's not super beginner friendly. Now, when it comes to startup costs, there's no startup cost. Honestly, you can start for free. You can just start posting content, for example, on, social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and you can start attracting clients that way. So it's basically free. Time to first dollar, I would say it could be pretty fast. If you're actually an expert in that topic, it could be pretty fast because people actually want to work with you and people actually need advice from more experienced people in that sector, in that topic, on that topic. So yeah, that's good. And skill complexity, you don't really need a lot of skills to be a consultant. Of course, you need to know a lot about the topic that you're consulting. So in order to become a consultant, you have to have acquired a lot of skills first. So you're not going to become a consultant in a couple of days. So you're going to first need to run a business, acquire skills, become good at sales, marketing, and understand actually everything, every single part of a business so that you can actually give good advice. So you need skills, but to run a consulting business, you don't need that many skills, I would say. And competition level, I would say it's moderate. Yes, there's a lot of consultants nowadays, but I don't think it's that crazy. It's that saturated, and fulfillment difficulty is actually pretty easy. So all you do is just give advice. You don't have to actually do something for them. People pay you just to give advice, just to give them advice. So you just have to talk, analyze the situation, and tell them, okay, you should do this, you should do that, you can fix this, and it's not hard to fulfill. So it's pretty easy. But based on all these criteria, I think I'm going to put it in A tier just because it's a great business model. And if you're a consultant, you get a lot of free time. You can just work a few hours a day and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So it's a great business model. And yeah, but you need skills to become a consultant. Now, let's move on with the next one. This is reselling and flipping items, like reselling things on eBay or marketplace or stuff like that. Now, I think let's put it this way. Now, startup costs, the cash required to start, it's not a lot of cash. Like if you have like $100 to $200, you can go to garage sales and buy stuff for very cheap and resell it on eBay or marketplace or other places. So you don't need a lot of money to start. Time to first dollar, I think, is pretty fast. Once you buy something, you can just put it online in the marketplace and you can sell it pretty fast. And skill complexity doesn't require a lot of skills except you being able to identify items that are going to sell. So you don't want to buy just crap and for cheap that no one else is going to buy, right? You want to be able to see, okay, this one is a good item. Maybe if I can fix it, maybe if I can change it, I can, sell it for a higher price. So you just need to be good at that, but it's not a crazy level of skills. Like you can do that pretty easily. Now, competition level, I don't think there's a lot of competition. I don't think a lot of people are doing this. So especially if you do it like locally in your area, in your city. So basically there's no competition. So it's pretty good. And fulfillment difficulty, it's not that hard to be honest. But well, actually you have to move around, maybe go to different sales, garage sales, and different places to find the items. But once you got the items, you just ship them and it's not that hard. So I would say fulfillment is pretty easy. And yeah, so based on these reasons, I think I'm gonna put this. I'm not sure if to put it if to. I'm not sure if I want to put it into A tier or S tier. I think I'm gonna put it into S tier because it's super easy to start. Like anyone can start this business today. Like I remember when I started reselling sneakers, it wasn't that hard. I just bought sneakers for a lower price and I resold them, and it was pretty quick and I was making a pretty good profit. Now the profit margins of course are going to be low, like 20-30% if you're good. If you're really good, maybe higher, 40-50. I don't think so though. You gotta be lucky and really good at finding good items and buying them for the lowest price possible. But anyone can start this. It's pretty easy, and based on all these criteria, anyone can start and run a successful reselling business. So yeah, I will put this in S tier. Let's move to the next one, which is AI automation agencies. Now, we all know that AI is the new trend. Everyone is starting an AI automation agency. Is the new trend. Everyone is doing it. And I think there is nothing wrong with selling AI automations. The only problem is that they're becoming a commodity. And also with the newest ChatGPT release, I think they release like agentic workflows or agents or whatever the fuck. I don't know shit about this, but they release something that is basically going to replace all the fucking AI automation agencies. So the only way you can survive with an AI automation agency if you're actually building very, very complex automations and actually building infrastructures like that you can automate multiple parts of the business like client acquisition, nurturing, delivery, and sales. If you can automate everything in a business and build like a growth infrastructure for the entire business that's going to actually have an impact on the revenue of the business, then yeah, you can keep doing, or you can start an automation agency. But it's pretty hard if you don't have all the coding skills and you are not very tech savvy and you're a complete beginner. Honestly, this is not the best to start, because every beginner can just sell like basic automations, but those are commodities and everyone can do that. So you cannot charge super high prices for that. So I don't think it's the best. Now, let me go through the criteria here. So startup costs, it's basically zero. You don't need startup costs. You can start for free. Time to first dollar. I guess it can be pretty fast if you're doing outreach. If you're doing a lot of volume, you can get a good client pretty fast, probably in 30, 60 days if you're doing things correctly and you're consistent. Skill complexity. Now it depends. Skill complexity, like to run basic automations, it's not hard. Anyone can do that. But if you actually want to do this seriously and build multiple automations and multiple infrastructure for a business, now that's pretty hard. You need to have coding skills, I think. So that's not going to be very beginner friendly. And competition level, it's very competitive and saturated right now because a lot of people are jumping on the trend of AI automation agency, AI agencies. So it's very competitive right now. And fulfillment difficulty, I think it's medium, not super hard. If you know what you're doing, you can fulfill pretty easily. Building automations, like especially simple automations, doesn't require you a lot of time. If you learn, if you spend like a whole day learning how to set up automations, you can do it pretty fast. So I don't think the fulfillment is crazy hard. But for a beginner, I think it's not the best business model, in my opinion. So just because it's getting commoditized, and if you want to do this seriously, you need a lot of skills technical skills. So I'm gonna put this in. Blah, 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 C tier. Yeah, C tier. Yeah, because it's pretty complex to run, I think. Let's move on to the agency. Traditional agency model, that could be SMMA or any other service business like paid ads or stuff like that. Now, agency I think is one of the best business model to start. It doesn't require you to have a lot of money. Actually, you can start completely for free. You can come up with an offer and start doing outreach and start getting clients in a week or in a month if you're really good. So startup cost is zero. Time to first dollar, it depends on how much volume outreach you do, but it can be pretty fast, like 30 60 days max if you're doing everything correctly. Skill complexity, it does require you to have a lot of skills because running an agency is going to teach you a lot about sales, about customer service, about how to manage team members. So you're going to learn a lot of skills. But when you're starting out, you don't need to have all those skills because when you're starting out, you're just basically a freelancer. You're doing everything yourself. So you're learning as you go. And once you start making more money, once you start getting to 10, 20K a month, you can start hiring people to do the work for you. So I think agency is one of the best business model to start. It's not super easy, but I think anyone can start it, and I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. Let me know in the comments, guys. And if you're liking this video, put a like, bro. Just leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. All right, let's keep going. Now, let's check this out. Freelancing. Okay, freelancing is easy. Freelancing is good. It's a good way to start. Basically, if you start an agency at first, you're gonna be a freelancer. But freelancing, I think, is good because the startup cost is zero. You can start for free. Time to first dollar depends on you, how much outreach you do, how much volume, but it can be pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Same with the agency. Skill complexity doesn't require a lot of skills. You can start with one skill and you don't really have to be great at it. You can just start and learn as you go, get better as you go. For example, if you're a copywriter, freelance copywriter, you can just start getting, few gigs here and there and start learning the job as you go. You can study and start making money at the same time. So I think it's good. Competition level, it's pretty competitive. It's pretty saturated. A lot of freelancers. So yeah, it's gonna be competitive, especially if you're doing something like copywriting, where anyone, like everyone in the world, is trying to be a copywriter, and AI is basically replacing all the copywriters. So it's pretty competitive, pretty tough for freelance copywriters. But if you're in a different niche, I guess could be a little bit easier depending on the niche you are. Saturation is different. And fulfillment difficulty, it can be pretty tough because you're managing maybe multiple clients at the same time all by yourself, and it can be very stressful. So it's not actually the best when it comes to fulfillment, but it's going to teach you a lot about customer service and managing clients and doing all this stuff and sales and communicating with clients and all these things. So I think it's a very good business model to start if you have like no experience, you have no money, you have nothing, you don't even have a skill, you just want to learn something. I think you can start with freelancing, and I'm gonna put it in A tier with the agency. Yeah, I think that's fair. Next one is Amazon FBA. It's kind of the same as drop shipping because you're basically buying products and then you're shipping them into Amazon's warehouses and you keep the products there, and then Amazon is gonna take care of the fulfillment and it's going to deliver your products. But you still need money to start this business. So startup costs, you need money because you're going to have to buy actually inventory, and then you're going to have to send that inventory to Amazon. And I think you're going to have to pay Amazon to keep your inventory there. So you're going to pay for storage. And time to first dollar, that's hard to say, honestly. It can be pretty long, to be honest, because when it comes to Amazon, you want to rank in the first page for your product. So you need to find the right product and you need to get a lot of reviews first, because otherwise your product is not gonna rank unless you're paying for ads. So it can be pretty hard. You need a lot of money, and it can take you a while to start making money and start making a profit in this business. Now, skill complexity, there's multiple skills like inventory management and customer service. So there's multiple skills that you need to learn to run an Amazon FBA business. And when it comes to fulfillment, fulfillment, I guess, is not super hard because you're just shipping things to Amazon and Amazon is taking care of the rest. So you have like Prime. You can ship things in a day or two thanks to Amazon. So that's good. So you don't have to think about that. So that's a good thing about Amazon FBA, I think. But yeah, it's pretty hard to start. It requires money and a lot of skills. So I'm going to put this in C tier or C tier. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Yeah, I think that's fair. And yeah, now the last business model and what I think is the best business model. And I guess you guys can probably imagine what I'm about to say. Maybe I'm biased, I don't know. But if you've been following the channel, you know what I'm talking about, what I'm about to say. And the best business model, absolute best business model that you can start. And the absolute best business model that you can start in 2026 is growth operating or AI infoscaling or AI shadow operating, however the fuck you want to call it. I think it's the best, absolute best business model that is going to blow up in 2026. And the reason why I say it's going to blow up is because a lot of people are catching up to this business model. And especially now that Iman Gaji is making a lot of videos about it. I don't know if you've seen them, but he's making a lot of videos and he's promoting this new business model, AI shadow operating, which is growth operating, the same thing that I've been doing, AI infoscaling for the past year, basically. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna catch up to that, and a lot of people are gonna start this business model in 2026. So, but if you're watching this today, you're still early and you can still get in on this business. And the reason why I think this is the best business model for 2026 is because the creator economy is booming. There are so many creators that are trying to sell coaching and be consultants, and they need people that run the backend operation. So if you don't know what this business model is, growth operating, AI operating, however you want to call it, it's basically you partnering up with a creator who's making content about a specific problem. For example, a day trading coach like TJR, for example. And these people need to sell their offer, but they need someone to take care of the landing page, to script the VSL, to script the emails, to take care of all the automations because they don't have the time to do that. They don't know how to do that. They don't want to do that. It's a lot. It's time consuming and it's not easy for them. All they want to do is just make content and make money. So you come in and become the operator that runs the entire backend operations, marketing operations. You run the VSL, you script the VSL, you create the landing page, you create the webinars, you create the email sequences, the automations, you do all of that, and you use AI to help you speed up the process. Now, this was not a beginner-friendly business model a couple years ago because AI was shit, but nowadays AI is very good and it can actually help you script a VSL, it can actually help you build a landing page, it can actually do 80% of the work for you. That's why now this is a very beginner friendly business model and anyone can start from zero. And as I said, the creator economy is booming. There's going to be a lot more creator in 2026. I think it's going to be like a $500 billion industry by 2027 or something like that. So there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of people are going to do this, and you might be the one who's doing it and make a lot of and capitalize off this opportunity. Or you can just watch and lose this opportunity. It's up to you. But yeah, just know that 2026 is going to be the year of AI operating, AI shadow operating, growth operating. There's so many different names, but this is basically what we're doing. And of course, I'm going to put this in S tier, because it's absolutely, I think, the best business model that you can start. And let's see how it does with all these criteria. So startup cost to be a growth operator is 0. You don't need money to start. Time to first dollar, it can be very, very quickly. Time to first dollar can be very fast. You can start doing outreach. And since there's a lot of demand for these people nowadays, because there's so many creators that need to run their offers, there's not enough people that actually know how to do this. You can find clients pretty easy and pretty fast. So you can start making a good amount of money in about 30, 60 days if you're really consistent and if you're really sending a lot of messages every day. Now, skill complexity, used to be complex, but it's not very complex anymore just because we have AI, and AI can do 80% of the work for you if you use the right input and the right frameworks. I'm not saying that AI is going to do 100% of the work for you. You're still going to have to come in and change a few things, but AI can do 80% of the work for you, and it speeds up the process and it makes it so much easier and beginner friendly. Now, competition level right now is pretty low because not a lot of people know about this business model. And if you see videos on YouTube about this topic, you're going to see that they're not getting a lot of views. So not a lot of people know about this, but it's going to blow up in 2026. I can promise you that. So again, you're still early to start today. And fulfillment difficulty now depends because it's a lot of work up front, but once all that work is done up front, you don't have to do anything else. So you can set up everything in a day or a couple days, and after that, it runs by itself and you start making money. And the best thing about this business model is that you take a percentage of the revenue that you generate. So let's say you help a creator or a coach run an offer, and that offer makes 100K a month, and you have 20% rev share on that offer. That means that you made 20K with just one client. That's the best thing. You don't need to have 5, 10, 15 clients to make 10, 20, 30K a month like a traditional agency. You just need 1 to 3 good clients and you can make potentially 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. So this is why I think it's the best business model, and people are waking up to this and it's going to blow up, I'm telling you. So yeah, that's it. If you want to learn how to do this business model, you can apply for a mentorship, one-on-one mentorship with me. And I've been doing this for a long time. I know how to do this. I've been doing this for a lot of creators. So you can learn from me. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to make sure you sign and scale your first creator in the next 90 days. And you can get up to 10K a month in as fast as 90 days, even more, to be honest. You can make 10, 20, 30K if you find a good creator. So yeah, you can apply for my one-on-one mentorship. Link is in the description. And that's it. And I'll see you in the next video.